Yesterday, there was no bigger superstar in all of the XFL than Dean Blandino.
Command center, stop game. We're going to take a further look at this. I just don't see enough of the ball at that point. That's what I'm looking at. When he rolls over, the receiver has his right arm on it. At best, maybe it's simultaneous. See, when it first comes in, see, at that point, I can't tell. Does blue have it right there? And then white gets it? I see when he hits, I just can't see the ball. That low end zone with the knee, but still can't find the ball. But does he have control at that point? That's the only thing. Chris, we're going to let it stand. There's just not enough evidence to make a definitive ruling here.
Standing, Dean.
Let it stand.
After review, the ruling on the field stands as called. Touchdown.
You know, Scooby, yesterday was a unicorn. It was a day that doesn't happen very often because, frankly, there was a ref trending on social media for positivity. I'm telling you, he joins us now. Dean Blandino, he's the head of officiating for the XFL, also rules innovation, which is important here, Dean. I appreciate it. You were a rock star all day yesterday. You're going to have to be a rock star again today. But for anybody that's new to the XFL, describe the process. What's different for you guys in the rules?
Well, I think, like you said, yesterday it was really exciting. It was our first games, and for us, the access. It's the access to the fans are going to get. People watching on the broadcast, they're going to be able to see and hear how we do things in officiating, how we make decisions in replay. What are the officials talking about on the field when they get together? They throw a flag. What are they saying to each other? So we're just really excited to give people an opportunity to see the process, how it works. And I think, like you said, we're trying to make officiating cool. I don't know if that's possible. But that's what we're shooting for.
Well, you're accomplishing that for sure, Dean. And one thing I really enjoyed yesterday as a football fan is how quick the process was. So what is it that makes that process so quick for you?
Yeah, for us, we've got this great technology, Bolt 6, all of our camera feeds. So however many cameras ESPN, ABC, our broadcast partners are using, we have access to those camera feeds immediately. And so we're not waiting for a replay to be shown on the air. We can access an individual camera right away. We can find the right angle, get to the aspect we need to review, and make a decision. It allows us to be more efficient. And we're really excited about that technology and how we're going to utilize it this season.
You mentioned earlier the fact that you're making it cool, but there's a transparency level that I think the NFL needs. You guys were mic'd up, which was important because Scooby and I were even arguing about some of your calls. How important to you was it that you be mic'd up in this process?
Really important, because whether it's college or NFL, and I spent a long time in both, you see a call, it gets reviewed, we get the answer, but we don't know what went into it. We don't know why they made that decision. We want to give everyone the why. I mean, we had a really close play in the game, the late game last night, Houston and Orlando on a touchdown. It was close, might have been an interception, might have been a touchdown. Look, this was a play. It was a challenging play to review. I felt it was probably more of an interception, but we just didn't have the right evidence. We didn't have the level of video to make that decision definitively. So the call on the field was a touchdown. We had to let it stand. And I think fans, you might not agree with that, but at least you understand what our thought process is.
I'm telling you, a quick Scooby, I feel like he had my house mic'd up because we were sitting on the couch and I was like, I don't agree with it. But now that I've heard the thought process, I can't even be mad about it. Go ahead,
and I love the fact that you said it was an interception. You first saw it as an interception because that's what we saw initially. Yeah. But the call on the field was touchdown. So therefore we go with touchdown. And another thing that we really like with the XFL is your rules, especially on the kickoffs and the punts. Explain to the fan at home why you chose to have it set up this way.
The kickoff was really important to us, and we wanted to keep the kick return in the game, but we also wanted to make sure that the play was safe for our athletes. And so that's why you'll see the kicking team at the 35, the return team at the 30, just a 5-yard gap so you don't have those high-speed collisions that can happen on more traditional kickoffs. But what was really important is that kick return. We didn't have one touchback yesterday in 2 games. In the Super Bowl, there wasn't one kick return, and that was really important to have that kick return in the game, make it safer because it's an exciting play. And with the punts, we want to see more punt returns. We don't allow any kicking team player to be more than a yard downfield until the ball is kicked, different from college where everybody can go downfield. NFL, only the 2 widest players in the formation. We feel like that gives the returner a little more space. We'll have less fair catches and more returns. And we're excited about that.
Yeah.
All right, but Dean, given the fact that the league is so transparent about wanting to be sort of a feeder and helper to the NFL, why the decision to allow 1 foot in on catches when that's so different than the NFL's process?
Yeah, that's a good question. We felt for 2 reasons, right? It promotes offense, scoring, things like that. The reality is we want high scoring, not necessarily we want to balance. We want to balance. We want offense and defense, but we want our teams to be able to put up points. We felt the one foot helps us with that. It's also it's an easier play to officiate more consistently, and we felt that those 2 things were going to be good for our game. And we're really excited about what our rules bring to the game and how the fans are interested in the rules, which is not something I've spent a long time in officiating. It's not something you don't normally hear people talk about officiating in a positive way, and we're hearing that.
Yeah, the first game really showcased those rules, especially in that final 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. Now, what went into the thought process of the onside kick, which can be replaced with a 4th and 15, and then the clock stopping within 2 minutes after a first down?
Yeah, the onside alternative was important, and that's something we've got a really good relationship and with the NFL and some things that they want to look at, and they've been talking about onside alternatives, and so that 4th and 15 was something we felt strongly about. Let's put it in. Let's give the teams an option in the fourth quarter, and we saw that at the end of the Arlington Vegas game, and it was an exciting play. And then the clock stoppages in the last 2 minutes, we wanted to give our teams an opportunity to conserve time in the last 2 minutes. We want that opportunity for teams to come back, closer games, more exciting games. And we saw that. We saw that in that Vegas-Arlington game that, 22-20, you got a 2-point try to score, to tie the game. We had the 4th and 15 alternative. That game had it all.
You just mentioned the NFL, and you've mentioned your ties to the NFL. I know they're interested in 4th and 15. What other rules were the NFL instrumental in helping you guys decide to implement in the XFL?
Well, I think the kickoff is something the NFL has looked at. My time, I spent 12 or 20 years with the NFL working with the competition committee. The kick return has had a higher rate of injuries from time to time, and I know the competition committee has looked at that. How do we make this play safer? So I think that's something the NFL is looking at closely, especially as their concussion data comes out and their injury data comes out on a yearly basis. They look at ways they can tweak and, again, continue to make the game safer for the players. And that's the utmost importance. So I think those are a couple things. I think the access, I think the NFL, the transparency can really help. There's a lot of that, right? There's that conspiracy theory. It's scripted. I can tell you, I spent a long time at the NFL, and you would think if it were scripted, the head of officiating would be in that writer's room, right? Would be able to. They never invited me in that room. Just saying.
Oh man,
I'm just saying, if
hilarious.
it's scripted, somebody really hates my beloved Raiders. You mentioned access. We're giving access to our fans. Joey G over there, I know you've been talking to the fans in the chat. You got a question for us that's come up?
Dean, amazing job yesterday on all those games. And we do have a fan question, but first, we would love to know, A, do you have an XFL script, and how much are you selling it for?
No, we don't. We don't have a script. But hey, if people are going to start bidding on it, I might have to write one.
Okay.
There's no script.
Dean, when it comes to the XFL rules, in a perfect world, if it were up to you, what do you think the NFL should adopt from the XFL when it comes to the rules?
I like the transparency. There's too much, like we just talked about. There's too much. Fans come away from NFL games, and look, I was a part of it. I understand some of the things that go into not being able to completely pull the curtain back. But I think when you have fans that have a kind of an unsatisfied feeling after a game because they're not sure why Why was that call made? Why did that call stand, or why was it overturned? I think the league can look at that and do more of that in terms of coming out and saying, here's why, here's what we did. And sometimes when you make a mistake, look, I'm not perfect, I may make a mistake in the XFL. I'm going to come out and say, hey, we missed that one.
Yeah.
Here's why, here's what we're doing to correct it. And I think that's something the NFL can do more of.
But there's one Dean Blandino, and there's 4 games. So you're allowed to be on all of them. Can the XFL actually put in enough Dean Blandinos to have essentially 16 of you every weekend?
Well, I mean, like you said, there's only one Dean Blandino. I don't
Let him know.
You can't duplicate this. Come on. But there's a lot of good people that are out there that do replay the NFL, college. So I think, again, we have the benefit, like you said, it's one game at a time. That's a big, big time benefit. When, my time at the NFL, you could have 8 or 9 games going on in an early window on Sunday. That's a lot of games to monitor. You need more people. So again, I think it's not impossible. I think there's things the NFL can do. They do a great job. I worked with all of the people at the NFL. They do a fantastic job, and it's a hard job. Officiating is not easy because everybody is a critic. Everybody is a part-time official. Everybody's that Monday morning quarterback, but that's part of it. We love it.
Yeah, well, Dean, we love your work, man. Congratulations to you. You're the Taylor Swift of officiating today.
For
Nobody's
real.
more
For
popular
real.
in the world. We appreciate you hanging out with us. Joey G, what else you finding out there, buddy?
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.